the red lights go on. Out they go, and who makes the best of the starts? Is it Heidi from pole position or from the outside of the front row? Yes, it is. Paul Collingwood from fourth follows him through. Anton Landon from pole is going to slot into third. Martin Gambling, I think, is going to go fourth, although he's on the damper part of the circuit, so he's going to lose out, in fact, to Neil Turner. Nearly loses out to Andrew Hayward as well. But they head through Redgate Corner for the first time, and it is Andy Hiley leading, Paul Collingwood second, and the driver from pole position, Anton Landon, as we predicted, down to third place. Then a gap back to Neil Turner.
And top three getting away. Possibly the first time these drivers have driven in anything like dry conditions this weekend, unless they were testing yesterday. And Gambling, big twitch in the second of the eclipses, coming out of the old hairpin. There's Mickey Scott progressing from the back of the grid, just like he did in race one. And Neil Turner under threat for the Class B lead, because Andrew Hayward is all over the back of him in that 1988 Silver Clubman. The car behind, the two cars behind him are not in their class, but the Class B lead battle is very much on, with Neil Turner, who dominated race one under pressure from Andrew Hayward, but Martin Gambling splits them as they turn through Coppice. Yeah,
and it looks like Hayward is going to try and get back past him as well. Just behind them, you've got Stuart Much, a spin for, I think that was Alan Robinson in the number 26 car for the man from Pershore in Worcestershire, the Silver Phoenix. But here's this battle, which has got Martin Gambling now at the front of it. Hayward has lost out to Stuart Much as well in that Class C leading car. The top three have already gone through. They are about, well, they're 9 seconds clear of Martin Gambling at the end of lap one. Hiley 53, Collingwood 11, Landon 64, the three leaders. Then it's a gap back to Martin Gambling in fourth place. And then we get into the Class B cars. Neil Turner is there, for example, in fifth, and Stuart Much is sixth.
How about newcomer Marcus Crook, who's going after them in the third place of the Class B cars, the Fisher Fury. So great to see him going so well now the conditions are dry. And Turner and Hayward were side by side coming through the old hairpin, but they've got Marcus Crook closing them in, the garage owner from Suffolk, in this 1994 Fisher Fury with a Ford ST engine, the car that was previously raced by Marcus Roscoe and Warren Vesey in this championship.
Alan Robinson is going to be for the pits, I think.
Martin Hayward, Andrew's father's going with them too. So we've got 4 cars, not separated by very much in Class B.
No, so good race going on here. Looks as if there was a little bit of oversteer, if anything, on the turn into Coppice that time for Neil Turner.
You wonder if how the setup has gone on Neil's car. That car prepared by Martin Ward, a 750 Motor Club champion and long-time racer. But Neil Turner very much under threat, which we didn't see that often last season. But the older cars of Hayward, and they're not far behind Crook as well, very much putting him under pressure. But it's for 6th overall, but importantly for them for class honours. And Mickey Scott, who's working his way through the order, the driver who started from the back, is into the top 10.
Yeah, he had dramas in qualifying this morning, so that's back his qualifying aspirations. And of course, with the good for H2 set by second fastest times, he was even further back. So here is the battle for the Class B lead. It is Andrew Hayward, number 27, chasing after number 1, Neil Turner, and is almost into the back of Turner there on the exit of the old hairpin. As Hayward is really pushing hard here. Neil Turner's not necessarily had a huge number of tough workouts in Class B over the last 12 months, but he's certainly got a good battle on his hands here. He's run wide there, and again, that time possibly, if anything, there was understicks. He's got off the circuit on the other side, and that occasion possibly in these conditions not quite as set up as well as it might be. He's lost it out now to Andrew Hayward, so I'm not sure that car's handling brilliantly either, to be absolutely honest with you. They're side by side again as they come down the back straight.
The lead gap overall is down to half a second, because Paul Collingwood has just set the fastest lap, which is now going to Martin Gambling, a 1 minute 15.5, as Neil Turner reclaims Class B lead. He has a big slide down the middle of the Robert chicane, so he loses it immediately to Andrew Hayward, who is back ahead.
Yeah, so it'll all change in Class B. So it's Hayward now ahead of Gambling, and then you've got the Class C leader Stuart Much, not Gambling, I beg your pardon, Turner. Then you've got the Class C leader Stuart Much behind. I wonder what's going on with the leads then, because as Josh said, it was half a second between them. Here they are, and they're together now at Schwantz Curve. It's Andy Hiley in the blue and white Chronos. It's the grey and orange and blue Eclipse, Honda engined Eclipse of Collingwood just in behind. Stuart Much now got himself ahead of Neil Turner.
That's Mickey Scott.
Yes, Mickey Scott has got himself ahead. Rather, I should say, ahead of Neil Turner.
So Gambling is a second quicker than the top two on the last lap. Hiley was in the 18s. I think he's got the hurry up now that Paul Collingwood caught him. They're trying to work out where the grip is and if they've got the right setup on, and then not to run out of the lines. It might not just be that people got the wrong setup on. It might be they're just running off the dry bit and finding a slippery bit of track. And again, not quicker laps from Hiley, Collingwood and Landon. So but Gambling is 3 seconds quicker than them in 4th position. So 1 minute 14.421.
It's only 2/10 off the lap record. So that's a great effort. Andy Hiley with that lap record from 3 years ago, a 1:14.42. So he might start to come back into the equation. Was he 9 seconds behind the leader at the end of the first lap? 4 laps have gone now, and he's only 6 seconds behind. So he's cutting that gap. 7/10 between the leaders. Meanwhile, Andrew Hayward is going to lose out to Mickey Scott as well. So that's both of the Mevs now ahead of the Class B battle. Stuart Much leading that class from Mickey Scott, and Hayward and Turner back together on track once again. A few car lengths between them as things stand as they come down the Crater curves on lap 5.
Yeah, they've got a slightly larger gap over Marcus Crook now, but he's still going really well in this first weekend for him out in that Fisher Fury. So you'd imagine Mickey Scott might be able to pull clear of Andrew Hayward. Hayward is fighting back potentially up through Schwartz Curve into McLean's. And for this third and fourth position, it's side by side, and Anton Landon's locked up on potentially the more slippery side of the road. So it's a mistake in both races now, I'm afraid, for Anton Landon. So he's going to rejoin, but in 4th position.
Yeah, so that was easier than it might have been for Martin Gambling to get through. He's done a 1:14.323. He's not quite got the lap record because the lap record is a 1:14.32 when we're only timing to hundredths of a second rather than thousandths as we are now. Anyway, still very close between the leaders. The gap didn't really change much that time. Still about 7/10 of a second between Hiley and Collingwood.
On that last lap, Gambling was about 1.5 seconds quicker, so not quite as big of a difference, but still enough to catch them before the race is finished.
Yeah, they both did personal best lap times, didn't they? Warren Vesey in the orange with the purple roll cage Mev. He goes through. We've had a spin for number 44, which is Marcus Roskill in the Silver Phoenix, so he's going to have lost time and possibly a position. Maybe not.
Oh, big moment there for Martin Hayward. He saved it, thankfully. The dentist from Northamptonshire, who started racing in this type of racing 15 years ago. And he's brought his son along now, Andrew, who leads the class. But Martin Hayward, again, going really well. So good to see that. And he's got Warren Vesey, who used to be in Class B, just behind. Leaders up across the line, and it's a new lap record for Martin Gambling. It's the aim shot fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 14.075.
And he's only 1.4 seconds now behind Collingwood in 2nd place, isn't he? There he is. He's in shot now, very much in shot with the 2 leaders. Meanwhile, Collingwood all of a sudden has lost quite a bit of time to the race leader, Andy Hiley. But certainly, I would say, Martin Gambling has his car more well prepared for these conditions than the 2 cars ahead of him.
Gambling got his own little aero tweaks on that Eclipse SM1 now since when we last saw him out. Collingwood we knew had already, but Gambling, he's got so much more grip. He just slices up the inside and he's up into 2nd position.
It was 1.35 seconds behind at the start of the lap, halfway round, and he's through into 2nd place. And now only about a second behind the race leader, Andy Hiley, as well.
Hiley's on wets. Look, he's moving over to the wet side of the circuit, so that's quite a surprising tyre choice. Maybe they weren't watching the Alpha Live pictures from the previous race to know how much drier the track had got.
There's a moral in that story, isn't it? Always tune in to Alpha Live to see what tyres you should be on. But yeah, Hiley is definitely looking for the wetter parts of the circuit to try and protect his tyres, which will be, becoming more and more useless as this race goes on. His lap times, he still did the personal best lap time there, 1:15.121, but Gambling did a second successive 1:14.0 something, and now is within a second of the race leader.
Down the Craner curve, so much more speed able to be carried this afternoon with these conditions, and when you've got the right tyres and setup on, as Martin Gambling seems to have, new lap record holder. About to lap Nigel Brown. He's not had a good day at Donington, has he? Struggled in the wet, and it's not gone so much better in these drier conditions either. But good to have Nigel out there. I noticed Anton Landon said his aim is to compete in as many racing seasons as Nigel Brown has, but he's got a little way to go yet, I think. And while Nigel Brown still racks more up, it makes his life even more harder to achieve that.
Absolutely right. Meanwhile, just a quick note on what's going on elsewhere. It is still in Class B. Andrew Hayward, number 27, ahead of Neil Turner, number 1 in Class B. About 5 seconds between them. But the gap coming down in Class C between Stuart Much and Mickey Scott. We'll see if that continues on this 8th lap of the race. But the gap had been coming down. It was still around about 4 seconds, though. The gap between the two leaders...
Gambling's transponder has stopped.
Yes, Gambling's transponder stopped working, so we'll have to do this by eye. And he's been slotted back in by the timekeepers with another lap record, a 1:13.862. The gap down to 8/10.
Mickey Scott's going really well, isn't he? To match and actually now be quicker than Stuart Much. I don't think we've really seen that before. He's won class race before, but that's more, I think, when Much has had an issue. So great to see Mickey Scott having improved over the last 6 months. Here come the leaders then. How long is it going to take Gambling to get through? He goes up the inside immediately. Heidi tried to turn in, but already Gambling was there, and he takes the lead then. As Ian mentioned, it's into the 1 minute 13s now, and he is the race leader. Who would have thought that on the first lap of the race?
And I think Hiley would have known that probably it was futile trying to keep Gambling at bay. I mean, the only thing that could save Hiley now is a sudden cloudburst, and I don't think we're going to get one because it's blue skies overhead at Donington Park now. The sun is shining brightly, and Hiley, well, he's just got to try and hope he can stay in second place here. He's got about 5 seconds in hand over Paul Collingwood at the moment. He's trying to go with Gambling, and he's going to pull to the left-hand side of the circuit. But even the places he was looking to for the damp circuit now, they're drying up as well.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to give this a go, it seems, because he's only 0.3 of a second behind the race leader, Martin Gambling, the new race leader, as they lap Marcus Roskill as they head downhill. Hiley's a bit wide there. Now we know that is a problematic line, but he's managed to gather the car back together, but he's lost time because of it. In Class B, you mentioned Andrew Hayward and Neil Turner still the top two, but Martin Hayward's got himself up ahead of Marcus Crook.
Change of lead. Kronos back through with Andy Hiley back ahead of Martin Gambling, so the tyres might be cooked, but he's still having a good go. Meanwhile, he's just made him out of the gravel trap there. That's Marcus Crook in the number 24 ex-Warren Vesey car. Had the wheels hooked over the edge of the curb.
What's happened to Gambling here?
He's slowed, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has slowed, so he must have a problem. That is, well, from his point of view, a great shame. Andy Hiley will be having a quiet smile to himself in the cockpit about that, I should think. But yeah, Gambling has dropped a long way back, so he has got a mechanical issue there. You can see in the background, which looks like he's fumbling for a gear or something down there, but yeah. I said the only thing that could save Andy Hiley is a cloudburst. That was the only other thing, a mechanical issue for Martin Gambling, but I didn't think I'd mention that.
No, so not quite a commentator's curse, I don't think.
No. So Hiley's now got this 6-second lead over Paul Collingwood, and it'll be Anton Landon back into the podium positions, won't it?
Yep.
So what's happening within the class as well? Andrew Hayward's continuing to get further away from Neil Turner in Class B, and Stuart Much is continuing to get further away from Mickey Scott in Class B. So I think everything's probably been sorted out, unless there's more dramas of the kind that have afflicted Martin Gambling.
It was a good race, wasn't it? A really good chase by Gambling. Remember, this car hasn't raced for over a year.
Just interesting, Hiley's last lap was at 4 seconds off his best, so he now is driving within himself, I think, doing what he needs to do. I see preserving the tyres. I'm not sure it'll be worth preserving after this, but yeah, doing his best in the circumstances.
There's Marcus Crook after that spin. He had a good first half of the race. The second half hasn't gone so well. He's just been passed there by Gerard O'Donoghue. The airline pilot has got past the garage owner, Marcus Crook. There's Stuart Much. We haven't seen huge amounts of him in this race. He's been leading Class C throughout, the 7-time consecutive Class C champion, and the owner of the MEV, the MEV kit cars. I think they had a new car out which was on display at the Autosport show at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if that's a car we may see in this championship for too much longer.
I'm going to question your statistic there. I don't think he was a 7-time
No.
successive, because I think Sylvia won it.
Oh, right.
One
okay.
of those years. Sylvia much. The other, his better half. Anyway.
6-time champion.
Yeah, and 5 in a row, to be fair to him. So there's Stuart Murch going on to what will be his last lap of the race, I think.
That's what happens when you just search surnames, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you forget that there's a husband and wife combination there. So he'd gone to his final lap of the race. The clock's counted down to 0. Andy Hiley started this lap 8.4 seconds clear of everybody else, and presumably he's actually almost at the checkered. So it might not be the final lap, actually. He might still have another lap.
Then we've got 0 on the
go.
clock.
Yeah, 0 on the clock. So it will be the final lap. There is Andy Hiley just taking the checkered flag with a 121.5 off on that last lap, 7 seconds off his best. So he has really eased off. Paul Collingwood takes second place, number 11. He was in the 19s, to be fair, so he wasn't pushing on either. I think they're probably both on similar issues. And then Anton Landon should be third. We've had some of the slower cars come through to complete their races.
We've seen Neil Turner, but 11 seconds up the road now is Andrew Hayward, who's going to win Class B in the Silver Club.
And the danger here is he might lose out to Martin Hayward for third place, or for second place in that class.
I think Andrew has won Class B races before, but
Yes,
not last year. So it'd be good for him to have beaten Neil Turner. Meanwhile, Stuart Mutch has come through to win Class C ahead of Mickey Scott.
Yeah, indeed, and also crossing the line there is number 18, Colin Benham.
There's Andrew Hayward. He was sideways out of the chicane, but he does win Class B in pretty dominant fashion in the end. He was one of the oldest cars on the grid.
Yeah, it was a very good race in the first sort of 3 or 4 laps, wasn't it? But dominant performance after that. And there is the second place car in Class B going through. That is number 1, reigning champion Neil Turner, and just behind him, number 65, Martin Hayward, only about 7/10 of a second behind. And we also saw Warren Vesey go through, didn't we, to complete his race as well. So I think everybody who's going to come through has done so. So let's have a look at the results. At the end of 12 laps that time, we got an extra lap in with the improved conditions. 53, Andy Hiley, the winner in the Kronos HR1S. Second was number 11, Paul Collingwood, in the Eclipse SM1. The gap between them, 6.309 seconds. And third was number 64, Anton Landon, the Sienna Mark II. He was nearly half a minute behind. Then in Class B, the winner and fourth overall was, Class C, which was number 7, Stuart Murch, in the MEV Exet. Fifth was number 58, Mickey Scott. And sixth, the winner in Class B was number 27, Andrew Hayward, in the Silver Clubman. Third of the MEVs was number 78, Warren Vesey, in 7th, completing the Class B podium, number 1, Neil Turner, and number 65, Martin Hayward, and rounding out the top 10 was 69, which was Gerard O'Donoghue. That was Marcus Crook after his moment, Nigel Brown, Marcus Roskill and Colin Benham, all of them 1 lap down. Neil Webb, a further lap adrift with Ross Martin Gambling, and Alan Robinson along the way. FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship, that's going to continue in just about a month's time at Thruxton. A return to the Hampshire circuit next month for the 750 Motor Club, and we'll look forward to that. There's Andy Hiley, he's already made his way into pit lane, so we'll hopefully be grabbing a word with him shortly, and some different winners in the other classes this time, in the form of Andrew Hayward and Stuart Murch. Neither of them made it in first place in race 1, so keeps things wide open. I think one thing that will be a stymie for Andy Hiley is the number of starters within Class A today. That will limit his points haul potentially from today's FreakyParts Sports Specials Championship races. We're hoping to get the likes of Paul Boyd and Clive Hudson out for future races, to increase the numbers within Class A and allow him to pick up maximum points in future rounds, because points are scored within classes and you need to have a certain number of starters in each class to max out on the potential points that you can score. So FreakyParts Sports Specials next out at Thruxton. We have 4 more races to come for you today. Next up, it's going to be the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. Then we're going to have Master 7s and the Radical Bike Sports Championship and the Race Part 750 Formula Championship to round out the day at what is currently a rather sunny Donington Park. But more of those in a moment. We're just waiting for our drivers to get ready down in the pit lane to speak to Yusuf bin Sahel, who's down there. Yusuf, with recent track day experience of Donington Park, is ready and waiting to talk to us. Let's go down to him now.
Well, it's our second race of the day and our first double winner of the day. Andy, not exactly the same way as last time, not the 40-second domination, but you look quite good out there.
We chose the wets and we chose the wrong tyre actually, which really surprised me. But yeah, I think Martin chose the right tyre because he didn't have as difficult a choice to make because his wets weren't good. But he was definitely on the right tyre. And if it hadn't gone wrong, it was his race. So yeah, I'm lucky.
Well, considering you're on the wets, you were only 2/10 off your previous lap record here.
Right, okay, well there we go, yeah. They're not bad tyres, are they?
Clearly not, but you got the win, 2 wins, perfect way to start off the championship.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Happy with that.
Next round, Brands Hatch.
Thruxton.
Oh, Thruxton, good. How do you reckon the car fares at Thruxton?
I think the car will work pretty well at Thruxton. It's a very fast circuit, so downforce works there. It's got a bit of downforce on it, so yeah, should be good.
Well, congrats on the double win and see you at Thruxton.
Thanks very much, see you there.
Right, we will move on to our Class B winner, Andrew. Oh, I looked at Class C, sorry. Andrew, good job with the win.
Yes, it was very surprising actually. Don't get many of these. It's been a while since I've had one of these, so yeah, very nice. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Well, good to see you back on the top step of the Class B podium. What were the conditions like for you out there? Because it looked pretty much bone dry.
Yeah, it was difficult. Obviously, if you did want to go for an overtake, it was as kind of a single dry line. It was kind of developing a little bit, but yeah, if you want to go for a big overtake, it was certainly a wet line, but it wasn't too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Well, good way to start the season with 1 win out of the 2 races. Yeah. Thoughts for Thruxton?
I've never been, so it's a complete unknown. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. It might go as well as it's gone here, or it might go horribly, but fingers crossed it'll go well.
Well, best of luck for
Excellent. Thank you.
And we'll move on to our Class C winner, Stuart. Good to see you back on the top step of the podium.
Yes, yeah, it was a little bit interesting this morning. All my own fault, put myself in the gravel and ruined the race. But yeah, better race today, better race this afternoon.
Well, you had to work your way up through the field, so you made it a bit more exciting for yourself.
Yes, yeah, it was. I mean, the Class B cars are quick off the line, and the guys were swamping me. I got a wheel spin off the line, but made the most of it, settled down and sort of got into a rhythm. Trying to nurse the engine back because it's on its last legs, so I'm glad it survived the race. But yeah, good finish.
Is there a new engine coming on, or is it drive it until it dies?
New engine before the next round, I think. Yeah, this one won't last.
Fair enough. Well, glad that there's a new engine coming in, and probably fairly good for Thruxton considering it's a bit of a power circuit.
Yes, yeah, this one wouldn't survive Thruxton. No, it's done. BS Motorsport have built me another good engine, so we're going to put that in over the next couple of weeks and hopefully be further up the grid.
Well, we've got the siren. Congratulations again on the win, Stuart, and we're going to throw to an ad break, and we'll be back shortly with our next race of the day.